People who lost their job due to this crisis. What is your story? I'm a housekeeper at a hotel. Last week they cut our hours from 40 to 32. I was just informed that tomorrow they are shutting down the hotel. Front desk, sales team, and bartenders are being laid off for the time being. Housekeeping will now work 24 hours a week for 2 weeks to deep clean the hotel. But who knows after that? I haven't been laid off, but I answer for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and we are having so many calls where someone is thinking about killing themselves because they were laid off. This virus is causing so much damage, and there's never enough resources. Hey, I also answer calls for Lifeline and the Disaster and Distress Helpline. It's ducking rough on the lines right now. Sending you lots of support and love. I've called you people. A call I'll never forget. The helpies, why I'm here today. Thank you. I was a bartender. The bars and restaurants were shut down. I was actually relieved because, not gonna lie, I was afraid of dealing with so many people and all the glasses. People would just kept coming to if the state hadn't shut us down. You're right. No doubt they would have kept coming in. Our governor just scolded the community because while the bars and restaurants were closed as of Monday, he stated that he didn't want social gatherings of more than 50 people. So of course, there is a park/playground area in a part of town that actually has a higher concentration of virus confirmations. And just yesterday all of these families took their kids to this park. People stated there were probably 200 plus cars in the parking lot and tons of children and adults hanging out together. The state police eventually shut it down. However, it caused the governor to now take more drastic actions and ended up closing other facilities that were still open to the public. And now, only groups of 10 or less allowed, and he's enforcing this rule by law now. He was visibly pissed. People being stupid are what's going to make this so much worse and last so much longer than it could have been. My experience is pretty unique. In a nutshell, my wife and I live in New Zealand and had planned a 2-year working visa in Toronto. We were supposed to leave in April, so we had obviously already handed in our notices of resignation to our bosses. Long story short, Canada shut its borders, and my boss has already hired my replacement. As a side note, they shut the borders on my birthday. Hey man, just wanted to let you know I arrived in Toronto on that same 2-year visa from Scotland like 2.5 months ago. I got a job and everything set up, and now it's all been thrown into disarray, and I'm sort of stranded over here. At least until things calm down. I sort of wish I was in your shoes, minus the replacement stuff that sucks regardless. Stay strong, and who knows, maybe see you out here at some point if my lungs don't implode. Mate, life's a bastard sometimes. I definitely don't envy your predicament. But chin up and stay safe out there. F&B manager at a large hotel. GM and ours gave me a list of employees to call and inform them that they would all be furloughed. It was the hardest thing I've had to do in my life. I had to stop halfway through the list just to sit in my office and cry. I had to encourage grown men and women that everything would work out and be okay when I had no idea myself if or when it would be. I went to work this morning, worked my normal 10 hours. Then I was laid off at the end of the day. I cried again on the way home. Jesus, this is heartbreaking to read. My husband got laid off on Tuesday. He works about 3 minutes down the road from my work. He showed up at my work with tears in his eyes, apologizing to me for not doing good enough to be kept. He works at a car dealership as an auto technician, where they let go of 4 techs that day cause of decreasing business. They are letting go of more people this Saturday. My brother is a mechanic there and is scared to lose his job too. They told my husband that when business picks back up, they might call and ask him to come work for them again. Thankfully, I work in the lab of a hospital, so my job is pretty secure. I keep telling my husband that we'll get through it, but I know it's taking a toll on him. I worked at a specialty custom cake shop. My bosses are a brother and sister that own the business. They have been terrified of COVID-19 since it started in January and have been throwing around the idea of closing ever since then. When all the employees would panic and ask what would happen to us if you close, they would just say don't worry about it. We will figure it out. Last week we got an email giving us 6 days notice that we will be closed for the following month with partial pay. By the time we reach the final day we will be open before the month of closing. They told us that we were actually being laid off. The partial pay for the month would be severance and they are unsure of when they will open. They act like this is only temporary. But I know that they are refusing custom cake orders all the way until August. They also make no promises to be able to hire us back after they reopen later this year, since they may not be able to afford it. Can't they work as a delivery company? Some companies in my area, especially restaurants and guest houses, jumped on this. I mean, even in these times, people might love to have a cake to be happy. Have you thought about your own cake delivery just to pass time? But there are no gatherings, so no weddings, birthdays, graduations, etc. happening, and no one is going to shell out money on a custom cake for 9 people at home. My mom works in vacation rentals doing housekeeping. She's 61, diabetic and has COPD, and lives in a state that has mandatory shutdown of all non-essential businesses. When she was informed they'd be laying people off, but also staying open, she told them she's afraid of getting coronavirus, and they laid her off so she could collect unemployment and continue to pay her bills while staying home safe. I was laid off from my 5-year graphic design job, working for a screen printing and promotional products company. About half of our business involves schools, sports, and events. Obviously none of that is happening currently, so our business has stagnated. They are going to try to operate with a skeleton crew for the next couple months. The hope is to bring everyone back eventually, but I'm not optimistic. Solidarity. I'm a web developer, pretty much the same industry. Fabric decor, projection screens, giant shade structures, etc. I'm optimistic things will bounce back eventually, and I trust my CEO that I will be called back when that happens. He's always been extremely good to all of the employees, and we are good friends at this point, but I'm not optimistic that it'll happen within the next few months. Yeah, it's tough. The demand will definitely be back eventually. Just waiting all this out will suck. If anything, it sounds like we both will have great references if something else surfaces. Good luck. If you are in the UK, the major supermarkets are on a recruitment drive with a fast turnaround of getting people in position. I know this isn't a story about losing a job, but hopefully this helps someone coming to this thread. I'm in the state of Ohio in the US and I'm seeing a lot of those opportunities too. Texas too. The grocery stores are hiring. I've always read 40% of Americans or something are one paycheck away from poverty. But duck. This virus is really putting that into perspective. Stay strong and safe out there. Related. But there's another saying. Every society is 3 meals away from revolution. Every human is 2 missed paychecks or 4 days without food from transforming into Mad Maximum. I just finished my training as a flight attendant for a major European airline. It's been a dream of mine, and I have been putting my love and energy into this training for the past months. I'm in Cancun right now, and it's bittersweet because it's absolutely beautiful here. But at the same time this was my last training flight. I'm now a fully trained flight attendant, and yet no one knows when me and my other new colleagues will actually be getting our work contract, since the airline industry is suffering a lot right now. I think I will cry when landing back in Frankfurt tonight, because I don't know when will be my next flight. But I will put on a brave face and genuine smile for our passengers. At least I will do my best. I work for an airline here in the US. I like your positive attitude. Hang in there and VLGLCK. Not me, but my wife has been told that basically we'll call you if we need you. And they don't really need anyone tbh. She hasn't worked a minute since the 13th. And my sister was a bartender at an arcade. So she's totally ducked. She's been laid off with the promise of reinstatement when they reopen. It's almost worse to be left in limbo like this than it is just to be fired outright. That's how they both feel. Wife works at a bookstore, which don't have great futures anyway, and sister works for a local business. They both have no idea what's going to happen. If their jobs are going to exist when this is all over. I'm scared for them. Can't imagine how they feel. Manager at a movie theater. I already saw it coming, so it wasn't that shocking to hear. We were only seeing about 200 people a weekday, down from our average of 900. Got called in by the GM and we were told that we were closing indefinitely. It's looking like 6 to 12 weeks. I'm fortunate enough to have enough money saved that it isn't really an issue for me, but it really upset me knowing that a lot of the people who work in the building have no other source of income and scrape by with their paychecks. Fingers crossed it's 6 weeks, maybe less. This might come across as ignorant, but it's a genuine question, so I apologize in advance if any offense is caused. I generally assumed movie theater work wasn't massively well paid. Do you mind sharing any tips you might have to prepare for up to 12 weeks unpaid? No, that's alright. You aren't wrong. Theater workers generally make a little over minimum wage, but as a manager, I make just shy of $15 an hour. While it's not great, as someone with roommates, it's more than enough to pay my portion of the bills and have plenty left over. I'm not a big spender to begin with, so all my extra money ends up sitting in my bank account. So I definitely have enough to go about a year without a job if I needed to do so. They wanted a co-worker and I to reduce our hours to half each because they could only afford one of us and didn't want to make a redundancy. In the end, I took the redundancy. I'm 21 and live at home. Meals provided. My co-worker is a 30Y/0 homie with bills and an unemployed girlfriend. Him losing half his income for me seemed wrong. Better me than him. That's the kind of kindness that will get us through this. Wishing you all the best when this thing is over. I got laid off today. I worked in art studio. There were only a few of us, and my boss owns the business. As it's a small business, she just couldn't afford to keep me employed anymore. Business just stopped. Normally we would have 10 plus orders a day. Today we had 1. It sucks, but I understand completely, and she is the nicest boss. I live in the UK, and although the government are promising loans for small businesses, it's not helping/realistic. By that I mean the help is going to come too late. I really hope her business manages to get through the next few months. It's going to be a difficult few months for a lot of us. I'm lucky I've got some savings and still live at home, so it could be so much worse. Yeah, I'm a professional artisan jeweler/silversmith, and art is one of the first things people stop buying. This is usually my second busiest season, but all my shows have been cancelled. I'm a server. I haven't worked since the 14th, but was officially laid off on the 18th. Where I am, temporary layoff is only 60 days. If we are not back by then, we lose our jobs permanently. It couldn't have come at a worse time, since we have new management, and there's been some murmurs about getting new staff. I was about to lose my apartment, unrelated, but my landlord phoned me up to let me know that he is no longer making me leave, and not to worry about April rent. He also gave me $150 to go buy groceries. He's a bro. I'm trying to get through to EI, which is all online right now, but the site keeps crashing, so I'm unable to make a claim right now. Jesus, your landlord is a hero. My landlord would have helped me pack my bags. It's not that I lost a job, it's the fact that it's now near impossible for me to find one. Damn. Like 2 weeks ago Ducking Everywhere was hiring near me. How quickly things change. Wife and I both work at major casinos on the Las Vegas Strip. Both of us are out of work. All casinos in Las Vegas are closed. Only security and a few other key positions are still employed. Casinos are the largest employers in the state of Nevada. I'm sure this is going to devastate the local economy. It's going to devastate the world economy. I was supposed to see my doctor yesterday, hoping to be cleared to go back to work. I had rotator cuff surgery 2 months ago. Appointment was cancelled, so I can't go back without the paperwork. Super sucks cause I have $100 to my name. With something like that, I would ask your employer if they make an exception for extenuating circumstances, or call the doctor and see if he can give you any kind of note. I left a message for the doctor yesterday. I work a labor job. Boss already said I'll need paperwork. Liability issues. Last hired first fired. The owner loves me, but she couldn't keep us all on. so it was only fair. My side gig is dog walking, which is ducking slow BC. No one's leaving their houses these days. God bless the biddy hoss dogs I walk every day. I have a friend whose job is walking and running dogs. She's also seeing her gigs disappear, which is tough on her. Today, we are having a nasty snowstorm, so the gigs she would have today and tomorrow have also disappeared. It's a Dakaroo. I've got an overpass this weekend, and I'm literally just waiting to hear it's cancelled. BC, they can't leave. Was working as hourly for a company which deals with the shows in Vegas. I read the news about all the shows stopping in Vegas. We were out of work Monday until who knows when. I was the only one with income in the family. I have a small business, but with everyone out of work, who knows what's gonna happen. I've been broke before, but this is different. My girlfriend works for Marriott and basically lost her job. They told her they'll call her when they need the staff again. She tried to apply for unemployment and was denied because Marriott has her as an employee who works 0 hours. So for the time being, I'm taking over her financial responsibilities. Most unemployment applications are denied on the first request. Appeal it and she will likely be approved. Cutting hours are valid grounds for unemployment. I wish I knew that when I was unemployed I had been unemployed for over 2 months. With countless applications and rejections, I finally landed a job at a record storing facility. Good hours, good pay. Technically it was a casual job, but it was essentially full-time. There was work for me for over a year. The company whose records I was to be taking care of cancelled the job, and I was back out of work after 5.5 days. Not sure where you're located, but save a lot. Grocery stores and distribution centers are hiring across all locations. I can help you look into it if they're available near you. COVID-19 plus price of oil dropping like a rock equals bad time to be a welder in Alberta. If it was just the virus, things would be alright. But the company got hit with multiple things all within a short time frame. So nothing to do but Reddit, YouTube, Call of Duty, and walk the dog. All while getting back some of the money I gave the government over the last few years. My last day at my old job was Thursday. Started a new job Friday. All my old friends and coworkers are laid off Sunday. And I have this guilt I can't shake. Don't feel guilty. You got really lucky with impeccable timing that you mostly couldn't foresee. I work for a ski resort in Colorado. Practically all employees have been laid off and are now stranded in a ski town with little other employment. Many have no way to get themselves home due to the desperate financial situation. You hear people saying all the time, now damn sports aren't on. What am I gonna watch? Exclamation mark. Well, that's my job. I run camera for all the local sports in Colorado. We are all contractors and none of us are getting paid. You hear a bunch of teams offering money to the hourly employees, which is great. But that doesn't include the people who actually get the game on the air for people at home to watch. Being out of work for a month can be devastating on a livelihoods, as some of the lower positions could have only been on 1 or 2 shows before this crisis happened. Really rooting for a stimulus of some sort to come through. Hey PSSST, please subscribe and like.